Today we're reading Luke chapter 11, verses 37 through 54, and then we're starting in the book of John chapter 9, and reading from verse 1 down through chapter 10, verse 21. We begin today's reading by looking at John chapter 9, where a blind man who's been blind from birth gets healed by Jesus. The healing itself is Jesus spitting on the ground and making some clay, some mud, and putting it on the guy's eyes. Wonder if he'd seen that coming, if he'd have said, no, I'm good. But anyway, so Jesus spits in the soil and makes mud and puts it on his eyes, then tells him to go wash in the pool of Siloam. And after he does, he sees. Well, that's just the beginning of the problem right there, because when he gets back and the Pharisees, who see that he's been blind from birth, I say, hey, it's the Sabbath day. You can't be getting healed on the Sabbath day. Now imagine, here's this guy, never seen in his life, and on the first day with his newly found sight, he gets pulled over by the religion police, and they say, you can't be getting healed on the Sabbath day. So then they put him through this intense interrogation. And he answers all the questions. He says, hey, I'm just telling you what happened. I was blind, but now I see. Well, then they question the man's parents, but the parents have already heard that here's what happens. If you confess that Jesus is the Messiah, you're going to be kicked out of the synagogue. Well, they say, you know what? He's of age. He's the one that got healed. Go ask him. So then round two with the blind man. They go back to him and they work him over really, really good. And finally the man, I guess he's kind of frustrated and probably kind of angry at the questioning. And he says in verse 31, now we know that God heareth not sinners, but if any man be a worshiper of God and doeth his will, him he heareth. And you know what happened? They kicked him out of the synagogue. Good guys they were, the religion police, these Pharisees. And then in chapter 10, Jesus deals with this very situation with his parable. And he talks about sheep and shepherds, and in all of his analogies, the Pharisees are the thieves and the robbers. Jesus is the shepherd, the stranger, another reference to Pharisees, the doorkeeper. That's probably the Holy Spirit, the one who draws us to Jesus Christ. The door is Jesus, of course, and the good shepherd is Jesus. But then he talks about the hireling. The hireling in that illustration, those are the Pharisees. Well, of course, this outing with the blind man and then the subsequent conversation that Jesus has with the Pharisees doesn't go well. Not from the Pharisees' perception. And of course, as I mentioned, they had already kicked the man out of the synagogue just for being healed on the Sabbath day. So what else can you say about these guys? They were thieves, robbers, and hirelings. And then Jesus in Luke chapter 11 goes to dinner with a Pharisee. And that Pharisee, in the course of the conversation, well, let's put it this way, that dinner turns very, very ugly. Well, that's what's in today's reading. It's really interesting stuff. I hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you tomorrow.